Yo, boys, welcome to another banger. It's not a banger, I'm just joking. This is a tier list. Might be a banger of a tier list, but it's not a banger. You know what I mean? I'm gonna make this tier list based on my experience in ranked and how I feel like the game is right now. I don't really play tournaments or anything anymore. I played a little bit, but not at the highest level. I don't scrim very often, and I'm not the best player anymore. Not that I ever was, but I'm not even in the conversation. So, I still have a decent game understanding, but my highest level of play right now is in ranked. So, I would say that my knowledge is. Um, it really depends on who you ask. I think I've been able to gather good information from talking to higher level players and stuff about what is good, what is not good, and my experience in ranked and playing with them and all that stuff. So I think I pretty much nailed it, but we'll see. You're probably gonna be raging at me about all champions as usual. Even when I had better game understanding, I was still getting that. Let's start with tanks. Like here, I'm very comfortable. Inara point tanks first as well. By the way, Inara, she could be A tier, but talking to my chat, she's B tier. She is the best point tank in the game, but she's not as good as other tanks or the top champions here. Also in my opinion, they really changed my mind. We have three tanks here. These three, they are point tanks to the same extent as Inara is. But within Inara nerfs, she's still better, but I still think this, like, you can pick them if you need a point tank. But in general, point tanks aren't the greatest right now. Terminus goes D tier, a little bit worse than this still. I personally would pick Terminus because I'm very comfortable on him. Sometimes over Nyx and Barracanando, but it really depends on what I'm playing against and stuff, obviously. Off tanks. Asen, A tier, very flexible, very strong. Like you can't pick wrong when you pick this champion. In any draft, he's usually very good. Or unless you go triple tank, and for unknown reasons, it might not be as good. I'm just gonna drag in Torvald. I kind of bad mouthed Torvald last time in my last tier list, so he goes to A tier, well deserved. He's one of those tanks. He's the only tank right now, except for maybe this guy that I ban. I ban these two on certain maps in certain situations. They're very strong. I can't ban Asan. Like if you start banning Asan, like what are you gonna spend all your bans on? But these two are probably, in my opinion, the two best tanks in the game right now. These two. Um, but you also have this guy who also is going into A tier. So we have four off tanks in A tier. So these four tanks, like you can basically pick them as an off tank in any game, and you're usually fine with it. And some of them are even banned. So even in the first rotation, it's like next level, man. These are the best. Makoa goes into B tier with Ruckus. Both of them are very strong. You can pick them almost every single game, but I think you need more skill with them. You need to be a better player, and they're not like perfect on every map. In certain situations, you can't pick Ruckus at all. He's hard countered by some controller picks, and it just makes game like horrible to play. And to the same extent, Makoa is good. Some games is maybe even better than some of these, but I just don't feel his damage and sustain is as high as Khan and Torvald, and it's just you gotta put a lot of resources into him. Yeah, Ash. Ash is in a weird spot. I love her. I love to play her. She works good on some maps, Bazaar especially this patch. C tier, just a little bit worse than this in most situations. I love to play her though, so still decent, I'd say. Let's bring in Rom. So Rom, he is a champion. He goes into E tier. He's just countered every single game, man. If he's free, he could be B tier, but he's never free. He just can't be this patch, and you rarely get to play him. That's why he's E tier. He's just too many counters right now, and it's just not gonna work for the most part. You can't get away with anything with him. Most tanks counter him. Most supports counter him. Like flanks as well. It's just not a good champion right now. I love to get games on him. I'm really trying, but every time I pick him, I just lose, and it's not fun. Jagorath, she is could easily be C tier on some maps. I'm putting her to D because I hate her, and I don't think she's like. she gets hard countered as well by certain things. And if she's free, no, B tier, C tier, but I feel like D is fine here. She has a little bit more free games than Rom, but it's still very very rough. So that's the end of the tanks. Now we're moving on to the healers. So they buffed one healer this patch, and that is Ying. And Ying is really really strong this patch. S tier, first S tier champion here, and I think it's very well deserved as well. She is just very very strong right now. Um, insane ulti, insane healing. You can even go to damaging and play, like Kiwi Master. You play Resonance and you just spam your teleports and spam clones and explode everywhere. So there's potential there as well. Just the best healer in the game right now. I'm gonna drag in Grover to A tier with Io. Very solid healers, very good healers. Requires some skill, especially the Io, I'd say, to stay alive. And knowledge on how to get out the way fast enough. I feel like Grover's a little bit easier. But I still think both of them go to A tier, and there's not really anyone that can compete with them except for Ying. So yeah, I'm gonna bring in Corvus to B tier. Corvus is a healer that does pretty well right now. You don't really see him pick that much because of all the others, and there's other options as well, like Furia, that also goes into the same tier. And being a B tier healer, like it's not a bad tier here. Look at this champions, man. This is a good tier. Fiora is more of a DPS support at this point, so same as Grok, they are damage supports. You play Exterminate for the most part with this champion now, and you do silly amounts of damage. Flanks can't really kill you. You'll kill the flanks, when you have your stacks ready. Corvus is a champion though that works better with like flanks and being able to heal champions that are far away. That's like you don't get that with you get that with Ying ulti and maybe Ying right click, but when they're behind walls, you don't really get that anymore. So Corvus is up there, so he can really be used for that. Just damage supports, man. They're not really like nothing crazy. They're alright. Movement speed on Grok and just overall damage. More of a damage than a healer, honestly. Both of them. Let's see. We have. I'll just take in Genos so you can see the Corvus diff. I think Genos is like not that bad, but he just doesn't do that well compared to other healers right now. You can't really play damage Genos, and his healing is very lackluster. He still has that range healing though that the Corvus have, so there is that. But it's just not very good this patch. He was the most OP champion for a bit, so they kind of went overkill with the nerfs. Ceres goes to D tier. No real reason to pick her. I think if you're a really good damage Ceres, it can work, but it's very rare. And I haven't seen it this patch, so I'll just leave it at that. And yeah, it's she has potential, but you just haven't seen it, so that's how I feel about it right now, at least. Many players in the lower elos would say Ceres is the best healer in the game, but I think it is as well when you're at lower elos and you play against the weaker players, and this champion just out heals everyone because you just right click and then you heal like for an insane amount. It just doesn't work at the higher elos, sadly. Sadly for her. Let's see, Lilith. She's in B tier. Not a bad healer at all. Very strong, good ulti, solid all around. Same with Damba. I'll also put Pip in here. Pip is the most difficult support, like to actually play support with. Combat Medic Pip is very very strong if you know how to play it properly. But I would say it's like it's in between being too hard sometimes, and like it can be very very good though. If you're really good at it and you have a good team around it, you might even like out heal Grover and Io as well, but the difficulty of the champion is just very high, I'd say. Ray also goes into B tier. It's more of a damage thing, or like a combination. You can solo heal on her. I don't think it's as good as Ying and Grover and Io and stuff, but I still think it's like somewhat reasonable right now. So very strong ulti and everything. Let's see, Omen. We're moving on to damage, by the way. Omen he's a champion. He's a champion that they made, that they were like, oh, let's make Genos, but that's the damage. Yeah. No E for you, bro. This guy is freaking broken, man. His ulti, I would say it's if you have a good combo with it, it works really well. If you throw them into it, it works really well. But it's like it's not the best. But his damage output is just ridiculous. You can't flank him. He can very easily fight anyone at range. He kills people really quick. Doesn't need a lot of shots for it at all. Just an S tier champion right now. Just very good. Maybe he gets a little bit worse when people figure him out, but or maybe even gets better. He's a very strong champion in my opinion. So I have Cassie and Leon here together. They're like always the same tier for me. I'm dragging them into C tier. I'm very close to putting Cassie down to D. I feel like she's one of my favorite champions, but I feel like she does nothing this patch. I feel like there's so many better options, but she's not that bad. Don't get me wrong, but I feel like she just doesn't look at the difference between the damage output of these two. It's just I feel like it's unfair. Like this, it makes me upset that I pick her sometimes, and I try my best, but it really depends on the game, though. Obviously. Um, let's drag in Charlie in here. On B tier, I think Shaw's a little bit better option than these two. You rarely see him though at a higher level these days. There's not many good players that play him. But he's very strong when actually people play him. Especially if there's no like reveal and stuff. He's even stronger, and you get away with a lot more then. Tiberius, he's pretty good. But I would put him to the same tier as these two. He's just kind of slow and clunky. High damage, very good on ice mines. Don't get me wrong. Some champions are very good on ice mines. But it's really depending on the situation. If it's like if you want to pick him in that game in particular, you don't want to pick him on like open maps and stuff. He just doesn't do as well there. Uh, Bomb King. I think Bomb King is a very strong champion. He goes into A tier, the first damage support into A tier right now. I think he's very solid all around. Very solid. Really depends on what map you're playing though, and I wouldn't pick him on like Timberman and stuff. But I think in certain situations he's really strong still. Even though they nerfed his best card, well best hand rather. Still very good though. Goes into A tier. Let's say Drogos, he's a B tier champ. I'll just pull in Dredge there as well. They're like, there's so many champions that are really good on certain maps, and these two are like just certain maps are really strong. And if they don't have a counter for Drogos, you win. If they don't have a counter for Dredge, there is a counter for Dredge, man. There is nothing. He just sustains everything. And in Europe, there's lots of good Dredge players, and you just run into this one-trick Dredge that are like they figured them out to the point where they're hitting everything, and it just hurts so much. Definitely be a tier champion in my opinion. I know in NA is not as privileged, like people don't play him as much, and you don't really see it as much. Will is a C tier champion. She has potential. If she's free, she's very good. If she's pretty countered, I wouldn't even pick her. But she's just one of those champions that a blaster that's good against good on certain maps and good against certain champions. And when she has the right matchup, she's just really strong. And with the DR, you can even still, if you one trick her pretty hard, I think you can get away with a lot of things. Imani, E tier, could be F tier. It's just there's no reason to pick her right now. I don't think she's very good, honestly. That's why she's E tier. Nothing really much to say about it. Her ult is fine, but she gets countered too much with people just pushing her and killing her when she ults it. I see her a little bit on Europe, but it's rare, and she doesn't do as good as I want her to be higher. Tyra, she used to be a solid A tier, but right now I want to put her down to B. I don't think she's been doing that well this patch, and I haven't seen her as much with the hunting party talent. I guess people maybe got tired of her, but like I feel like she struggles a lot against like Omen and Bomb King and other high level like damage champions or flanks, or like she just I think at lower elos people are playing like Burn Monster and stuff, and consider her a first pick. Also, like you can't play Burn Monster at the higher elos, and if you do that, I think you're just losing every single game. Even against triple tank, you don't do it. It's Hunting Party or what's the name of the talent now? I don't even remember. The Mercy Kill talent actually. Yeah. You can play that if you get hard countered and they're trying to push you all the time. You can get away with that, but Mostly you want to play hunting party and mark people and just be annoying as fuck. Victor, he's it's like weird. I'm very like, it depends on the map, but controller Victors, man, they break you. I'm starting to talk about controllers. Every hit scan champion is basically better on controller, right? So, hit on Omen broken, and Victor also, like, if it was PC, it would be like C or D, I think. But like right now, Victor is doing just fine, I'd say, or even better than just fine. A solid champion, and B tier is like turning into quite a tier, right? With all these insane champions, I just kind of ridiculous, isn't it? Sari's been very popular this patch, and for good reason. She's very strong with her coin. People don't always play the coin though. I put her to A tier now. She could be B tier. He's definitely not S. I ban her sometimes because she annoys me so much because lower level players will play the coin talent and they will destroy my team. And I'm like, we need to push her and kill her. But they don't react to it. They just stand there and get shot, you know. It's like playing against Grok to some extent where you just spam damage and spam damage and spam damage until you get your ulti with her though, and then you win or you kill someone. Very, very strong champion right now, I think. And very, very annoying. Feels very skillless, and I don't like the talent and the I think most people know about what talent I'm talking about. You know, the coin talent and the ult charge on hitting your coin, and you just spam your stuff constantly, and it's just very unfun and it feels very skillless, you know. Anyway, moving on. Vivian, C tier, a little bit worse than Victor. I think she has potential against, you know, some of the tanks that I'm talking about here, Makoa and Ruckus. Um, she just shreds them, especially Makoa. Just shreds them like nothing, and it feels so broken to play against it. Um, and she's a good counter to like Sky and just for the reveal and stuff, you know. Decent champion, nothing crazy this patch though. It's not like, you know, first picker or banner or anything. Yeah. Betty La Bomba, I should have pulled her in with the other blasters, I think, but she goes also in here. Like, she's just very annoying, and she has all of those things that these do have. Silly amounts of damage, and they're hard to kill, you know. Especially, I mean, Drogus is not hard to kill on certain maps, but in certain situations he's unkillable as well. So yeah, also goes for him. Octavia, like it's hard to put her lower than Victor. She could even be A tier. She is very annoying right now. Just a lot of damage. The nerfs are a little bit, but it's not really noticeable. It's a little bit noticeable, but like just a lot of damage. Kills people really quickly and just has constant value. But with her extra card as well, like the old charge or Chronos one whenever you want to start, or like just a very strong champion. I feel like she's even underutilized a little bit, but I put her to be a tier now. I feel like it's pretty fair. The last damage champions are the snipers here. So the snipers I'm a little bit uncertain about because right now we have a few maps like Timbermill, Bazaar, and Frog Isle where you can play snipers. But the thing is, they don't do that well, you know, for the most part, unless it's a really good player. I'm not even sure which ones are the best of those two. I'm putting them both to C tier. I feel like people just pick in between them and like they kind of have a preference in that. Me personally, I would pick Strix because I'm more comfortable with him. But Kinessa is like pretty good against Strix for the reveal and stuff now. So it's like I feel like they're pretty even though. C tier could be debated either way. We're okay. We're moving on to the flanks now. Just looking over. There's nothing left there. Yeah. Vatu, still the best flank in the game, man. Come at me. Caspian to A tier. I think Vatu is really, really strong, and I think Caspian is also really, really strong this patch. But I've been trying him a little bit myself, and he feels, you know, I had the game and I kind of said he was a glass cannon, and it still counts like as a glass cannon. Vatu is way more self-sustained. Their ult is like crazy ultis, but Caspian ulti is just next level, man. You just kill people in 2 shots. Absolutely stupid. Vault ult is also really strong. Charges really quickly, both of them. Very, very strong. I did this at the start, but I cannot turn around, and that is just not worth it, man. It's not worth it. So Androxus, it's like he's been so strong for so long, and with the floating talent, not floating talent, the floating card where you heal crazy amounts while just holding down your spacebar while in the air. It's just not fun to play against, and it's one of those things where I absolutely hate it. He's just has too much self-sustain for no reason, it feels like. So he's A tier. I'll just pull in Eevee and Meave as well. They're high mobility flanks that are very, very good right now in this meta. So yeah, very, very good. I'm gonna pull in the most annoying flank in the game, Lex. He is so freaking annoying now. Heroism Lex. If you get a Torvald pocket or anything like that, he's just unkillable. You shoot a few shots, you dash again. If you shoot a few shots, you dash again, and you just keep it going. Especially on controller, it's basically unplayable. And I just don't know what to say, man. They need to do something about heroism Lex. It's like 90% damage reduction while you're dashing. You know, Ash had that. They took it down to 75. I think they should do the same for Lex at least, and remove the CC immunity, as they did for her. I feel like CC immunity shouldn't be a thing on a Lex. It's just no. It's not. It's way too good. Way too good. Um, Moving on to Koga. So I'll just put Talus next there as well. He's a B tier champion. He's very good. Very good controller pick. Same with Talus, but you don't see them as much as you can expect it to. They're strong, but they're not that strong. You have Lex instead to do that job right now. Also, look at this B tier, man. It's crazy, man. I'm gonna put in Sin here as well. I had this argument with my chat. Sin, I was having Sin on C. They were like, it's definitely B. It's definitely B. Sin is very annoying, and I kind of agree. But I also put Sky to B tier because of Ernest and King Nick and those guys. Playing against Sky on controller, like a high level controller Sky, as a tank, it messes you up so much, man. And they just shred you like it's nothing. Also, a champion that, well, all of these champions actually, all of these four are very. If you get to Torvald, like you're just gonna shred anyone, and it's so broken, man. So I feel like Sky is B tier. I've put her very low earlier, but I think B tier is where she belongs right now, especially if I'm playing with those guys. Vora, she's been buffed quite heavily. I haven't seen her do that well yet, but C tier. I think she could easily be B tier if it's the right player and is played a lot. But right now she's not getting that much playtime, so C tier is fine. Maybe B tier in the future. She has potential. Same with Buck. Just not played. You know, there's so many good options right now, so it's no reason to pick him. Moji, man, D tier. She is not that bad, but also doesn't have crazy mobility. Her damage is really good though. Her ult is really good. But like, if Ashe, for example, was more of a meta champion, she would be even better because she's countering Ashe very good. And some tanks as well that she's very good against are just not very big in the meta. You're mostly playing against these four. Sometimes it's Ruckus, and then Moji is really good against Ruckus, so that's something. But yeah, she's just not very good right now, and she's very reliant on healing and having a pocket. And the pocket healers like Janos and Corvus aren't as much played as they used to be. So D tier. Kasumi joins here. I'm not a big fan of Kasumi as a champion, but I've seen her be very annoying though in ranked. A few games, but I think it's just the people that play her know how to play her, but we don't know how to play against her yet. I think she could be C tier because of the annoyance of not knowing how she plays properly, but also she's not that great, honestly. She rarely gets a big game in my opinion, so D tier, could be C tier, as far as I know, at least. Yeah. 7, I haven't seen him in forever. I played against him once in casuals like a few days ago, and I was like, he's annoying. We're not countering him, so that's why he's so free, but he's annoying. But C tier, the guy that used to play him a lot, Chessar, got permabanned for cheating, so yeah. We rarely see him, man. We rarely see him. So yeah, that's my tier list. I'm sure everyone's gonna get very upset, but people ask for this tier list, man. People been asking, and I was like, I'll do it this weekend, and I deliver. All right, I deliver. I hope you enjoy. If you disagree with my statements, that's fine. You're allowed to complain. You're allowed to tell me where I'm wrong. This is like not like hard facts, because it's just opinions. And yeah, have a nice rest of the day, and see you guys tomorrow in the next video. Bye bye.